You're going to see crazy difference just by changing that part of your diet. Hey babe, so you're trying to lose fat, but you're really tired of dieting. I understand completely, trust me. What I'm gonna do in this video is I'm gonna give you all of the tips that I do to incorporate dieting that's not really dieting to kind of help you with a sustainable fat loss journey. So if you are new to my channel and you don't know me, my name is Nebiha. I am an online fitness coach and I help hundreds of women stay in shape, build muscle, recomp, and lose fat. And I'm going to tell you what I do personally to make sure that I'm able to recomp all the time without having an issue or feeling like I'm dieting. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to focus on whole foods and we are going to eliminate processed foods. So a very simple rule of thumb, if you don't know what whole foods are, or if you want just a refresher on what a whole food is, I want you to think when you're in the grocery store, how many ingredients does this item have? If this item is the ingredient, then this makes it a whole food. So for example, an avocado has no ingredients. Avocado is the ingredient. It is the whole food. Make sense? Eggs. It is the ingredient. It is an egg. You cannot make an egg. It is the egg, right? So anything processed isn't necessarily bad. What that term means is it just literally means it went through a process to become what it is. So some processed foods are fine. Some processed foods are not. And the ones that are not are the ones that are gonna have an insane amount of ingredient lists that look like a Christmas list from a 3-year-old that went bananas. That is a processed food we do not want, okay? We want processed foods that are very minimal in the ingredient list, maybe 3 or 4 ingredients. Preferably all of their ingredients are whole foods, right? I actually made a snack the other day that was like a brownie, and it was a chocolate bar and 2 eggs. And the chocolate bar that I used literally just had cacao and milk and salt, I think. However, the ingredient list was very minimal, right? So even though the chocolate bar was processed, it was processed with just whole foods and there were no chemicals or anything extra, any extra additives into it. And so I just made that snack and then it turned into like a fluffy brownie and it was like, great, I have a very whole foods option. Now, what I want you to do, if you are somebody that does not eat this way, is I want you to go into your fridge, into your cabinets, into your snack drawer, into the little pouch that you keep on the armrest in your car with the bars that you have in there, and I want you to get rid of everything. I want you to get rid of everything that you have in the house that is not a whole food. I want you to eat strictly whole foods for just 1 week, and I promise you, you're gonna lose weight like that. Especially if your body is not used to eating that way, you're going to see crazy difference just by changing that part of your diet. Okay, the food industry, especially in the United States, is just geared to forcing and pushing down processed and unhealthy foods into your diet. And you're going to cut so many calories from that. Processed foods just naturally have empty calories. So what I mean by that is like you can eat 1 cookie, like a Chips Ahoy cookie, and not be full. You can go through an entire case of those cookies and be hungry because there was no nutrients in the cookie. However, 1 cookie is like 300 calories. Have you tried to eat 300 calories in Whole Foods? Have you seen what that looks like? It's insane. You are going to be so stuffed at the end of eating 300 calories of Whole Foods that it's going to be impossible for you to keep going. So by you cutting out empty calories or processed foods, by default, you are eating significantly less calorically at the end of the day. So yes, you're gonna lose weight. Also, your body understands what to do with these foods because your body was made to use these foods. It knows exactly how to get the nutrients from it. It knows exactly where the nutrients are. It knows how to break this food down. Your body is also using its metabolism while it's doing it, and it's working, right? So you're burning calories, you're moving your body, you are digesting food properly, you're going through what it needs to go through. Your body has a natural process in which it does things. By you just giving it junk food, it doesn't know what to do with this. It doesn't know what to do with a bag of chips. So yeah, it's gonna store it as fat. You don't want that, okay? So I want you to eliminate processed foods. I want you to focus strictly on whole foods. And then after a week, I want you to get into incorporating processed foods again because obviously it's gonna be very difficult to stick to a whole foods diet all the time, especially if it doesn't match with your lifestyle. But I want you to prioritize processed foods that are clean, okay? So really make that a goal when you go into the grocery store. Just flip over whatever it is that you're looking at, check the ingredient list, and if that label is looking like a Christmas list, gotta go, okay? I want you to I want you to focus on what is the better option for you in the store. This is gonna make a huge difference. I also want you to stop eating protein pancakes, protein waffles, protein bars, protein cookies. Those are just glorified cakes, okay? A protein bar is just a glorified Snickers bar. It is not good for you. Just because it says protein on it does not mean it is good for you. I promise you, okay? Again, the industry is just very hooked on getting you to be unhealthy and just overweight and obese. Just eliminate that and you are going to see huge, huge, huge changes. So again, recap, step one, clean your fridge, clean your drawer, clean your countertop, clean whatever it is, and just whole foods, okay? Step two, and I know you knew this was coming, so I'm just gonna put this earlier on in the list, but please prioritize protein, okay? Protein is going to help regulate your metabolism. It is going to help keep you satiated. It is going to help maintain muscle mass. For every pound of muscle you have, lean muscle mass you have, your body is burning an extra 50 calories at rest. So if you want to lose fat, build muscle. And if you are in a deficit, it is very hard for you to be building muscle. It is very hard for you to put on muscle. What you want to do is maintain it to the best of your ability. If you are hitting your protein goal, you will be able to maintain the lean muscle tissue you have on your frame already while you are allowing your body to burn fat, okay? So please, every single meal needs to have protein in it. That should be your main focus. When you are getting a plate, okay, and this is something that I've noticed for myself in my eating habits, just because I'm conscious and I have more nutrition education. Before I had the nutrition education, I was just eating what I liked. But because I got educated, I started to make better choices with how I'm eating and the order I'm eating foods in. So what I mean is if I was to get chicken and waffles, which is a cheat meal, of course, I used to eat the waffles first because I love waffles and I would save the protein for last. Now I will fill up on the protein and whatever I have space for left, I will have waffles. That itself changed everything about the way I eat and about the way my body maintains muscle tissue. If you have steak, potatoes, and asparagus on your plate, what is the correct order? It is the steak and the asparagus. The potatoes should be last, okay? Especially if it's mashed potatoes because, you know, y'all all putting butter and cream and cheese in them things, okay? If it's just a baked potato, fine. Also, if you're going to do potatoes, off tangent but on tangent, try to, actually, this is completely, it has nothing to do with it. I'm about to make this so complicated, but sweet potatoes are lower on the glycemic index, okay? So what that means is that it's slower for your body to break it down, so it's extended energy. I like to look at it like that. So a sweet potato or any other slow digesting carb is gonna be great for post-workout, pre-workout. Sorry, it's gonna be better for pre-workout, I guess post-workout, but throughout the day, right? Because your body's tearing into it slowly, so it's not spiking your insulin, okay? A fast digesting carb is going to like immediately spike your insulin. I would stay away from that. So try to opt for sweet potatoes. That is the reason why you see people when they're trying to be healthy, they'll go for a sweet potato. It does not equate the same if it's like a sweet potato fry over a regular fry because it's fried and it's greasy, so you defeated the purpose, but that is the thought and the logic behind that. So for tip 3, it's going to be focusing on mindful eating over restrictive eating. So piggybacking off of a little bit of what I was saying in tip 2, whereas you're going to decide which meal you're gonna, or which food item you're gonna have in your meal first and what order you're gonna do that in, and a little bit off of tip 1, where we were talking about not having the processed foods and focusing on the whole foods. These things are going to help with mindful eating. Restrictive eating is a little bit more complicated because everybody's diet is different. The nutrients that you need are different. The goals that you have are different. And it is a lot easier for you to hit a fat loss goal if you are cleaning up your diet all around and you're just intuitively doing things throughout the day. Restricting your diet focuses a little bit more on like macro counting and calorie tracking, which is going to be great if you've never done it before. However, it is very overwhelming. So I don't recommend this for newbie people or individuals, especially new lifters or new people on their fitness journey, if you are well off into your fitness journey, if you have been training for several years and you are really focused on putting a certain amount of muscle on, or you have all of the muscle you could possibly need on your frame and now you want to cut as much as possible, then calorie counting and macro counting become important. However, if you're just like an average Joe person and you just want to be healthy and in shape, it's not necessary. The first two tips are going to be your best options, right? So you want to just listen to your body. When you're hungry, eat when you're hungry. A good rule of thumb is to have several meals throughout the day spaced out. I always say this to my clients. When it comes to fasting for fat loss, no. Do not fast for fat loss. It's the worst thing you can do because you are slowing your metabolism down. When you are fasting, you are quite literally calling your metabolism up and you're saying, ring, 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 you cannot show up to work today. Don't worry about it. Take a sick day. And that's what your metabolism is going to do. And when you're in a space of being in a deficit for a very long time, overdoing cardio, and just not really having nutrient dense foods, your metabolism's already halfway out the door. And then you're fasting on top of that, you're gonna add intermediate fasting, your metabolism is going to bed. It's not waking up today. So what you want to do is you want to give your metabolism a reason to show up to work. And the only reason it's going to have to do that is if you are feeding your body. So when you hear like you got to eat more to lose weight and it doesn't add up, that's the reason, babe. You got to eat more. You got to really fuel your muscle. You want to prioritize the protein because you want these things to be working in your body. Keep in mind, it takes a lot more energy for your muscle to maintain than it takes for your fat to maintain. Meaning, if I put on muscle tissue, and I tell my body and I send signals to my body to keep this muscle tissue. And the way I want to send that signal is through strength resistance and through prioritizing protein. I'm telling my body, this muscle that I just put on, I need you to make sure this is like at the top of the list. This needs to be kept here. So now your body is saying, well, in order to keep this muscle here, I have to keep like feeding this fire, right? So you think of like a furnace and it literally has to dig up coal to feed this fire, and muscle tissue is a huge fire that has to be fed consistently. So the coal has to be coming from somewhere, and that is going to be the fat in your body, and it's just going to keep digging that because it has to feed this tissue because it's so demanding. Whereas fat is like, we can just keep it there, right? We don't need to work so hard to put fat on. So just, I want you to think about that. And metabolism is part of this process. It's part of making sure that the coal is being fed to the fat, and you want your metabolism to show up to work, right? So eat multiple meals throughout the day, intuitive eating, right? Think about that. Think about the protein, think about having the whole foods, think about prioritizing the way that you're gonna eat these meals, and tell yourself, I have to keep my metabolism working, okay? I have to keep sending the signal to my body, and it doesn't look like having a cookie today and then 2 hours later having, you know, a burrito, and then 3 hours later having a burger and fries. That is not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is more a more optimal approach to this diet throughout the day. So it may look like a non-fat Greek yogurt, weigh that out with some berries and a granola. If you want to add granola in there, please read the ingredients labels on the granolas because they are crazy. So find a brand or a company that you like. I'll put up some pictures here of a few brands that I like. The ingredients lists are very minimal. They're healthy. The carbs are average. You know, the carb to fat ratio is pretty average. So, and just, you know, mind the serving sizes. I get a scale, use the scale, and be conscious of that. I promise you, you guys are gonna lose so much fat doing this. I swear. Just this alone, like without even adding the training on top of that. If you're already training, then you're gonna see amazing changes, okay? So just be conscious of this. And then once you kind of graduated from this stage, then start focusing on like calories and calorie cutting and all that stuff. Really just hit your protein goal and do it in whole foods. And watch. Your protein goal should just average around what your weight is, not to overcomplicate it. So if you're 140 pounds, eat 140 grams of protein, maybe 150 grams. If you go up 5 or 10 grams, it's ideal, especially for cutting. But just keep that in mind, and then everything else, just, you know, have it sparingly or sparingly, and just make sure it's whole foods. You're gonna love what you see, I promise. You just gotta be consistent and give it time. Okay, ladies, and that is it. So that is going to wrap up this video. I hope it was helpful, short and sweet. I just wanted to give you guys a few tips to help you lose fat and kind of stop thinking about diet, because this is going to be a game changer for you, especially if you're in the beginning of your journey. So just to wrap everything up, going over the 3 tips that we touched on, it's going to be staying into whole foods, staying away from processed foods. And if you are going to have something that is processed, please make sure the ingredient list is very minimal. Okay, no chemicals or anything like that. It's a triple thumbs up if you can find a processed food with only whole foods as the ingredients. That's gonna be like bomb. The second thing is going to be prioritizing your protein. So making sure that every meal that you have has protein in it. If you can sneak protein in throughout the day in, let's say, a scoop of protein powder, which I'm like, not really into because it's processed, obviously, but if you have to scoop protein into your oatmeal or your yogurt or something like that, try to get it in as often as possible. And then the third tip was going to be brain fart. Mindful eating. Mindful eating over restricted dieting. Slow, but I get there. Yes, so, and then the third tip is going to be mindful eating over restricted dieting. So make sure that you are saying to yourself what you want to fill up on. Make sure when you're getting a meal or something is coming to your table, you're thinking, what is each of these things doing to me? How is it serving my body? Understand that you are either fighting a disease in your body or you are feeding a disease in your body, okay? So every time you see food, that should be what you're thinking about. Am I giving my body the tools that it needs to fight a war, or am I just taking my body down? Am I just defeating my body? Am I making sure that my body is weak? If you are not making the right choice, what you are actually doing is you are disrespecting your body. You're telling your body, I don't care about you. I don't want you to show up. I don't want you to fight. I don't want you to be strong. I don't want you to win the war. That is literally what you are telling your body. You're telling your body, I don't care about you, and I want you to just crawl off in a corner and just give up. It's dramatic, I know. I'm trying to really sink in here. I'm trying to really get into you. I'm trying to get into your mind. But that's essentially what it is, right? You're either giving your body all of the tools that it needs to succeed in life, or you're just stripping everything and restricting everything from your body. So think about it in those terms, and you're going to view food very, very differently, and your body's going to respond to that very differently. So again, I hope this helped. And if you want more videos like this, please let me know in the comments, and I would love to give you more nutrition tips or fitness tips or anything like that. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys back.